So Assemblyman Nazarian is here finally. Item 6, we'll go back to item 6. This is AB 270 regarding license plates and diabetes awareness, and thank you for being here, and you have the floor.
Thank you. And after that healthy and robust debate, I'll just be very brief. This is a great bill. I ask for I vote. Is that good enough, or should I expand?
Oh, I'm sorry you had to wait for that, but please come forward. Yes.
That's great.
Just to give everyone an idea, this is AB 270. It establishes a diabetes license plate under the Department of Health, Department of Public Health, to fund and promote diabetes awareness, education, and research. As you all know, diabetes is the 7th leading cause of death in California, and unfortunately there's no cure for this chronic disease. With me is Lisa Murdoch from the American Diabetes Association, and I yield the floor to her.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members. I'm with the American Diabetes Association, and we're here today in support of this bill. 13.1% of California's population, or 3.8 million people, have diabetes. It carries with it a tremendous personal burden. It's the leading cause of major disabling and life-threatening conditions, blindness, amputation, kidney failure. It's also a leading cause of heart disease and stroke. Beyond just the personal effects or impacts of diabetes, it carries with it a tremendous financial burden. The state of California, from all sources, spends $37.1 billion on diabetes annually. Sadly, the money that we spend on diabetes prevention is not adequate. There was a recent report issued by California's auditor that shows that California ranks last in prevention spending per capita to combat or to prevent diabetes. That's really scary because 11 million additional people have prediabetes and are poised to develop the disease and because they're at such high risk for it. We support this bill as a way to raise awareness and also to generate some modest money to be allocated to reducing the burden of diabetes in California, and respectfully ask your vote.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve the bill. Are there speakers in favor of this bill, please? Opposition? No. I just want to say something. This is a public health emergency. It's not just a public health problem. It's a public health emergency. And we have to get a grip on this statewide, because we got to do more than just a license plates. This is a public health emergency. We need to take some strong action on this, more than we've done in the typical health programs. And I'd like to work with any senators who would like to help me and assembly members to raise the level of prevention awareness and for this particular public health problem. So I think we have to do something. I support you for your efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we'll call the roll, please. You have a close?
You made it for me. Thank you. Right. The only thing I can say is, just
thank you very much.
Given the 2/3, given that people with diabetes have healthcare costs that are 2.3 times above and beyond any other Californians, just demands our attention and needs. So I appreciate what you're saying right now. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Call the roll, please.
The motion is due pass and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Bell?
Aye.
Bell, aye. Canella?
Aye.
Canella, aye. Allen? Bates?
Aye.
Bates, aye. Gaines? Galgiani?
Aye.
Galgiani, aye. Leyva?
Aye.
Leyva, aye. McGuire?
Aye.
McGuire, aye. Mendoza? Roth?
Aye.
Roth, aye. Wachowski?
Aye.
Wachowski, aye. So that's 8-0.
We have 8 votes in favor, and we'll leave it on call for other members to vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I see Assembly Member Bloom here. I'd like to call him up right now on number 15, item 15 on our agenda. We will discuss that. That's AB 974, and regarding the I would call it problem that doesn't go away, redevelopment disillusion, and
sadly, I can't disagree with that.
Yeah, I know. So you have the floor, Assemblyman, and welcome to the Senate committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. It is estimated that approximately $715 million in 2011 redevelopment bond proceeds are currently sitting idle and unable to be used by cities across the state. AB 974 authorizes the use of some of these 2011 bond proceeds, but only if various criteria are met that are intended to identify bona fide, legitimate redevelopment projects that were being planned prior to the governor's announcement regarding the dissolution of redevelopment. So specifically, the 2011 bond proceeds could only be spent on projects that meet the following criteria. Projects must be consistent with the sustainable community strategy adopted by the relevant metropolitan planning organization. 2, there must be documented proof that 2 or more significant planning or implementation actions related to the project occurred on or before December 31st, 2010. And lastly, there must also be documented proof that the bond issuance was being worked on prior to December 31st of 2010. And based on these criteria, we think that only roughly 60% of the bond proceeds will actually be able to use. And the objective here is to eliminate those cities that rushed to issue bonds in 2011 simply to lock up funds for future projects that didn't really exist. Please note that since the governor's veto of my similar bill, AB 2493, my office and sponsors have been diligently working with the Department of Finance and the governor's office to find a solution to the 2011 redevelopment bond issue. And of course, we're keenly aware of the RDA trailer bill, which has changed things up a little bit. And we're hopeful that an agreed upon solution to this issue can be included in it. In fact, we're trying to work on that very resolution with the team that I've already assembled that's working on redevelopment. So if there is not a consensus on the RDA trailer bill, we are intending to continue to work with the governor's office and the Department of Finance on this more limited resolution, finding a solution to this 2011 bond issue, and therefore I ask for your aye vote today. I'd like to introduce you to John Leonard with the City of West Hollywood, who will provide some additional detail.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. My name is John Leonard. I'm the Revenue Manager for the City of West Hollywood. The use of 2011 bond proceeds would provide immediate benefits to the state's economy, specifically 11,000 jobs, $1.6 billion in economic activity, and approximately $76 million in new tax revenues. However, current law requires that 2011 RDA bond proceeds must be used to defease the bonds and the proceeds not spent. But over 90% of these bonds cannot be feased until 2021. During this period, nearly $1 billion will be spent on debt service and the proceeds will go unused. Statewide successor agencies hold approximately $715 million in these 2011 RDA bond proceeds. The vast majority are for projects such as parks, libraries, roadways, police and fire stations, and over 1,500 units of affordable housing. For the City of West Hollywood, our proceeds would be spent on the construction of 32 units of affordable housing, the renovation of one of our largest parks, and the construction of a new preschool. As Assemblymember Bloom mentioned, AB 974 would allow successor agencies to use their 2011 bond proceeds only if their project can meet multiple criteria and the projects are approved by the Department of Finance. This bill in no way reduces the over $2 billion that the state, schools, counties, and local districts currently receive every year for core services from the dissolution of redevelopment. Instead, the bill would result in a minor loss of additional dollars on top of that $2 billion. For example, our analysis estimates that the fiscal impact to the state, on average, is $5 million per year in lost Prop 98 offset over a 29-year period. This analysis is based on over 2 years of extensive research we performed, data collection from cities, and other various analysis. AB 974 further limits the state's fiscal exposure by specifying that any bond proceeds not used, the 40% that wouldn't be used by cities, must be used to defease all or a portion of the bonds. The bill also requires that successor agencies refinance the 2011 bond proceeds that they use to lower their interest rates at the call dates. This is important because many of the bonds were issued at high interest rates, which is something that will be pointed out by the opponents. They were issued at high interest rates due to the uncertainty regarding redevelopment in 2011. The savings from this required refinancing would go to all the taxing entities. I would also like to briefly touch on one other point that the opponents have brought up, which is the level of debt issuance in the first half of 2011. Specifically, that this level of debt issuance in 2011 was more than all of 2010. While this is true, it is because the level of debt issuance in 2010 was abnormally low. And based on our research and review, the level of debt issuance in the first half of 2011 was on par with the average for the prior 10 years. Finally, I would like to mention that last year's bill, AB 2493, was co-authored by 11 legislators, both Democrats and Republicans, and was strongly supported by a variety of public agencies and construction trade groups. We respectfully ask for your aye vote on this important bill that solves a lingering issue regarding redevelopment dissolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Other speakers?
Sylvia Solis Shaw on behalf of the City of Santa Monica. AB 974 will allow our city to continue vital infrastructure projects. These projects were planned as early as 2005 and will lead to increased traffic ridership, reduce traffic congestion relief, will provide traffic congestion relief, and will create hundreds of construction jobs in our community. So we ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members, David Jones on behalf of the City of Glendale. We have a 2011 bond. Very important to us that we get the economic development of this tool, and this bill will allow us to use those things for productive use. We'd ask for an aye vote.
Okay, other speakers in favor of this bill? Okay, speakers opposing the bill? And while they're coming up, Assemblyman, the governor, and he vetoed the bill last year, said he was going to create a committee to come up with some recommendations. Did that, or what's happening with that?
I'm not sure that he said he was going to form a committee.
Or something, some kind of policy
He did
group.
instruct the Department of Finance to continue working on the issue.
But did they ever
and so we
report?
have done so. We've been working in regular meetings with the Department of Finance and the governor's office.
Yes, okay.
We haven't
Okay.
had one in a few weeks. But
Okay, thank you. Okay. We'll hear the other speakers. Speakers opposing? Okay, we have the floor.
Hi, Christina Lockie with the California Special Districts Association in opposition. We represent approximately 1,000 independent special districts that provide infrastructure and essential local services throughout the state of California, including fire protection, water, parks, libraries, et cetera. We must respectfully oppose AB 974 due to the cost to our local agencies. Each dollar that funded a former redevelopment agency was money that was diverted away from our essential services and infrastructure for the districts and schools and counties that overlapped the RDAs. With the dissolution of RDAs, we're now seeing the restoration of our property tax money. However, as RDAs wind down and the RDA successor agencies continue to have debt, we continue to see that money diverted away from our local agencies to help pay off those successor agencies' debt. AB 974 would continue this property tax diversion for up to 39 successor agencies, allowing them to spend up to $750 million in bonds. And this will result in a direct revenue loss for the affected local taxing entities, again, the schools, counties, and special districts. The total cost to local agencies could be upwards of approximately $2 billion due to the interest rate and debt service on these bonds, as well as potentially extending the life of the successor agencies due to the debt that they incur. And this, again, means a direct loss of revenue to our local agencies. We, too, have infrastructure wish lists and needs for funding for essential services, again, fire protection, parks, libraries, et cetera. What this bill essentially does is reward the imprudent actions of a small subset of redevelopment agencies at the cost of all of the other local agencies that provide very similar services and have very similar needs, as well as potentially the cost to the state wide for the need to backfill the schools portion of the cost to schools. So for these reasons, CSDA must respectfully oppose the bill.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members. Dorothy Holzman with the California State Association of Counties, and also speaking on behalf of the Urban Counties Caucus for my colleague who cannot be here. I'll echo the comments of my colleague from the Special Districts Association and want to say my appreciation for the excellent committee analysis, particularly point 2, that breaks down this issue into very simple terms, whether or not these bonds should be defeased or spent. And I think that really is the crux of the position and explains our opposition. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Mr. Chair, members, Jean Hurst here today on behalf of the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors, also in opposition for the reasons previously stated.
Okay.
Ed Behrens on behalf of the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, in opposition to bill for the reasons already articulated.
Okay, thank you. Other speakers opposing the bill? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come forward. Welcome. Okay.
I came very far. I would like to oppose it, any bonds like this kind of bonds, because most of your project bring up to you before in committee. The wood is more expensive than your furniture, a lot of the government project. The less bonds that you raise, the tax money that we pay is, we are not that headish. Now everything's so expensive to live in California, especially in America. We had to work harder making money, and I have to pay the tax, everything in California, 10% tax already. How can you do that is into people are leaving this state because of this state get too much bonds and too much liberalism. They use all kind of excuse to raise the bonds, and they play with the bond with the pool in Las Vegas. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Okay, let's, I think is the governor, how do we, it sounds like you're pretty close to the governor on coming up to a resolution.
I don't know that I go that far.
Well, tell me, because last year it was okay, so now we have this, plus we have AB 113.
Right.
Can you talk about how do you feel we're going to resolve this?
Well, it's unclear right now where the discussions around redevelopment are going to go vis-a-vis the budget.
Yeah.
So we want to keep this bill moving forward. If a comprehensive or a more comprehensive solution is not worked out, then this bill will still be viable. I'm hopeful if there is a comprehensive solution that the issue that we identify here with respect to the 2011 bonds will be contained in that vehicle.
Okay, thank you. Senator Wachowski, you have a question. Senator Dwyer, after you.
We had testimony from the counties and from the special districts that they said that you're going to be diverting money from the needs that they have. But didn't these special districts and counties a vote for the approval of the redevelopment money and the projects that were set forth when that redevelopment was put forward? I mean, didn't they know that they were going to get more water hookups or more sewer hookups, and they agreed to that before that redevelopment agreement can go forward, or am I missing something?
No, I believe that would have been the case. Mr. Leonard, did you have something to add?
Yes, they had to sign off on the establishment of the redevelopment project areas or submit opposition to them.
And on the financing, when we've identified $715 million, is that net, or is that, because my recollection when I served as a redevelopment person said that we bonded for $1 billion, but we actually only spend less than that because we had to pay that debt servicing.
Well, let me try to answer the question this way. When we started down the path of working on this issue, there were somewhere in the neighborhood of $900 million in outstanding bonds. Through modifications to our approach, that number has now been reduced to about $750 million. If you add in the criteria that are in the bill now, we believe that only about 60% of that $750 million will actually qualify. And I want to point out that each one of these criteria are criteria that were either suggested by or worked out with the administration and the Department of Finance. We didn't just pull these out of thin air. So it is amply clear that while the opponent said it's up to $750 million, it's actually going to be a number that is much lower. The special districts also are going to, yes, if this bill did not pass, they would benefit from a fraction of that money, but certainly not the majority of it, just because of the way the funds work. The last thing I would say is that this idea that cities, redevelopment agencies rather, are somehow being rewarded for imprudent actions, that is precisely the result that the governor has insisted not take place. And that's why the criteria are now in the bill. Cities and redevelopment agencies legitimately exercise their authority, not knowing what the end result was going to be with redevelopment. In fact, the court cases, the outcome of the court cases caught everyone flat-footed in Sacramento. A very, very surprise result. So this bill in no way rewards imprudent actions. In fact, it does the opposite.
And I have one final question, if I may, Mr. Chair. If this bill passes and it gets signed into law, and your Santa Monica former successor agency goes forward and completes its park, will that be open to all the citizens of Los Angeles County to come in and enjoy that park?
Absolutely.
Thanks.
And as would, well, it's not 1,400 units in Santa Monica, but across the state, approximately 1,400 units of affordable housing that would be funded if this bill is successful.
Okay, we have a motion on the bill. Senator McGuire.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Very quickly, do appreciate the Assemblyman bringing this forward, and always good to see representatives from West Hollywood here as well. Going to be supporting this bill today because it is going to greatly assist the city of Ukiah. The largest sales tax generator that was potentially going to be opened up in the city of Ukiah, a very depressed area of our state, was unable to move forward and secure the financing because of the flux of RDA. And I know it can be controversial now, and as the chair and the Assembly member noted, there's some good times related to RDA now and into the future. This is going to benefit long-term the communities because you're going to see increased property tax rates, which will then benefit schools as well, special districts, et cetera. So going to be supporting it, and this will be significant news if approved for the city of Ukiah, which desperately needs this new center to open up. So I do appreciate your leadership.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think on balance, this is kind of a, I describe this as a trailer bill to the trailer bill on redevelopment. So AB 113 is the trailer bill that hasn't been approved yet to the budget. And then this is the trailer bill to the trailer bill on the budget. That's how I describe it. So I think for me, redevelopment, obviously, the governor and the legislature both decided there'd be an ending process. And so we're going through that ending process. We have to do it in a fiscally responsible manner where true issues that are raised that need to be addressed should be raised, but what I call false issues should not be used to exacerbate the problems that redevelopment created and the disillusion. So we have to be very careful about weighing and judging those particular issues. I'll say this, when city redevelopment agencies approve bonds and build projects, the other agencies don't have a full partnership approval role in that. That's not the case. So, because I remember when I was a county supervisor, I remember we didn't have control over the amount of bonding that redevelopment agencies approved. But when I was chairman of the redevelopment agency for the city of San Jose, we settled an agreement with the county to negotiate that particular issue. And I think some counties and cities have these redevelopment city-county agreements. And those kind of agreements are the ones I think you're talking about, correct? Where you have an agreement, there was an agreement made. And those agreements, I think, are a sign, in my opinion, of the type of redevelopment projects that we should honor. But when there's no agreement or there's no agreement at all, it's kind of hard to honor the chaos that's created when there's no agreements. So I would recommend, and I vote on this, it's going to Government Finance Committee. This committee's role is kind of limited, we're kind of we're dealing with the housing, land use, and transportation part. The real issue is going to be taking place in the Government Finance Committee. So we have a motion to approve this. We have a motion to approve this bill, and we'll call the roll, please.
The motion is due pass and refer to the Committee on Governance and Finance. Bell?
Aye.
Bell, I. Cannella?
Aye.
Cannella, I. Allen? Bates? Gaines? Galgiani? Galgiani, aye. Leyva? No. Leyva, no. McGuire? Aye. McGuire, aye. Mendoza? Roth? Aye. Roth, aye. Wachowski?
It's 5-1.
5 votes to 1, and will remain open for other members to vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Can I have Assemblymember Daly's here? Welcome, Assemblyman. We'd like to welcome you for item 14. I don't see any other Assembly members here. Oh, Senator Thurman's here. Okay, he's going to speak with them. Okay, so we're on item 14. We got our 2 Assembly members here, Thurman and Daly, and they're going to present AB 932. So you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Senators. Mr. Thurman is the co-author of this bill. We are accepting the committee's recommended amendments to clarify the fee structure of the program that's proposed and the dispersal of funds to charities operated by the pro sports teams. This bill establishes the sports franchise license plate program to allow professional sports teams to opt into providing their logos on a specialized license plate. Fees collected by the program would help fund state-managed grants supporting local parks and recreation programs. 26 states in the United States, as well as the District of Columbia, offer specialized license plate programs that display logos of professional sports franchises. Our state is home to 18 sports teams in 6 different leagues, with millions of fans around the state and many, many successful teams. This legislation should provide an easy way and a fun way for California drivers to show support for their favorite teams while also generating badly needed funds for local recreation and parks programs. Let me turn this over to Mr. Thurmond, if I could, to say a few words.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Senators, and thank you to my co-author. And I'll simply just add a few words to echo the words of our leadoff hitter. This is a tremendous opportunity to support Parks and Recreation. If you think just about our challenges around obesity and illness for young people in the state, this is an opportunity to generate new revenue in a way that just builds off of the love and support of many fans in our state. As was mentioned by Mr. Daly, there are 18 professional teams in our state. Many of them serve my district in the 15th. We're honored that we've got, in our 2 counties, we've got fans of San Francisco 49ers and the Oakland Raiders, which are seated in our city of Oakland, that we also have Giants and A's, and that we also have our champion Golden State Warriors. And we think, I imagine that there might be a few Dodger fans somewhere nearby, but you know, today is not about who's your team. Today is about California being our team. This is a win-win for all of Californians, and I respectfully urge your yes vote.
Thank you. Okay, we have speakers in favor.
Andrew Governor on behalf of California's Major League Baseball teams, Giants and Dodgers. We ask for your support of the bill. California sports teams are dedicated to youth recreational activities, and if you look at the other states and their success with using the team's logos to actually raise money for important programs, we believe this will be a tremendous success in California for underserved local parks and recreation, and we ask for your support. Thank you.
Okay, I got a question for you. Can this bill include an amendment that bans Dodger license plates in Northern California?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to comment on the bill.
Hey, there you go. Okay. Other speakers in favor? Okay, please come forward. And then we have some opposition. Excuse me. Can we have a quiet? We have business we're conducting. Yes, sir.
Thank you so
Everybody
much.
Has a right
I would
to
like
speak
to
on anything
support this bill because this bill is not cost to anyone money, and it's also promoting in California state, and also American people traditionally they like all the sport. Whenever I talk about Giants, I make a lot of tip. That's true. You know, you are American. Everybody like it, so nobody get hurt. Everybody happy. This is a happy ending. Win-win. Thank you. Okay.
All right. Good. Okay, other speakers in favor? How about opposition? Any opposition to this bill? Anybody? I just want to comment about something on this bill. I think some of us that were in the legislature for a few years remember the days when we had to close state parks. And it was an awful, awful thing. And we asked the private sector to come through. We had the funding from private sector groups to keep some of the parks open. It was horrible. And when we did that, we were looking for creative ways of funding the parks just to keep the state parks open. So when I saw this bill, I thought, well, it's kind of a different kind of thing, but I think if we want to look at trying to find funds for our state parks, this might be one way we can get some extra money for our state parks. And if it does that, it's a good thing. So although it's kind of a different way of doing things, I recommend that we go along with it. And just for that reason, because of what we went through in the past. So we have a motion on this bill. Do we have any other comments? Okay, we have any close? Would you gentlemen like to close?
I appreciate your comments, Mr. Chair, and the committee's attention. Mr. Thurman and I had a deal not to use too many sports metaphors in our presentation.
Too bad.
But thank you very much for your attention.
You're welcome. Okay, call the roll, please.
The motion is do pass as amended and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Bell?
Aye.
Bell, I. Cannella?
Aye.
Cannella, I. Allen? Bates? Gaines?
Aye.
Gaines, I. Galgiani? Aye. Galgiani, I. Leyva? Aye. Leyva, I. McGuire? Aye. McGuire, I. Mendoza? Roth? Aye. Roth, I. Wachowski.
7-0.
Okay, 7-0, you're on call. We'll wait till the other votes arrive. They're at other committee meetings, so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.